For the 2 weeks holiday I went on recently, I decided it would be a good idea to rent a car for most of the 2 weeks. But before that, prior to that, I borrowed my father's car to do a little practice driving because I hadn't driven for 2.5 years, which is a long time to stop driving for. And the last time I did drive was when my girlfriend visited England 2.5 years ago, and I picked her up from the airport and took her back to the airport and maybe drove to a park or something. So I don't know, that was like a combined time altogether of about 2 hours of driving or something like that, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I don't know. And then before that, maybe I hadn't driven for a year or something. So it's sort of like 3.5 years of not driving with a little tiny bit of driving in the middle. So yeah, I think I needed to practice, and that's why I borrowed my father's car. And it was a weird feeling getting back onto the road, getting back behind the wheel of a car. It was sort of familiar and yet very strange at the same time. It's like I hadn't forgotten how to drive. We all drive manual cars over here. Some people might have automatics, but they are rare. Almost everyone drives a manual car. And I hadn't forgotten how to do it. It was just a bit like not fresh in my mind. I don't know how to describe it. It's like I could drive the car, I could choose the right gears, I could balance the clutch correctly. And like driving on the road, this bit's hard to explain, but when you're driving on the road, you have this sort of like knowledge that you pick up. Like, I don't know, like it's like behavior of cars. You can read the behavior of cars, you can predict it. What they're going to do, and that kind of knowledge, and like knowledge about when to go and when to wait, and I don't know how to use roundabouts or certain road signs and things like that. All of that knowledge, I hadn't used any of this for so long, and it was all a bit like sort of like a bit locked away in the back of my mind. Well, not locked away, stashed away, like put there for later. So I could remember it, but it was like, I think it's this, but I'm not sure it's this. I think you do this, but I'm not sure you do this. So the first few times my father was sitting with me in the car, just making sure I was doing everything okay. But really, the surprising thing for me was how good I was at driving after such a long break. Because I thought I'd be a lot worse, to be honest, after such a long break. But no, I sort of just jumped in the car, started it up, started driving on the roads, and it was a bit like sloppy, like not perfect, a bit messy. But it wasn't too bad, to be honest. And then like the second time I did it, it got a bit tidier, a bit neater, a bit more perfect. And the third time I did it, it was even better. And that was it, really. But and then after that, I got a hire car, and I was driving every day. And I drove it's quite a long journey. It's like 4 hours, I think, from my house, from Birmingham to the Lake District. It's about 4 hours, 4.5 hours or something. I don't know. But yeah, quite long journeys, driving every day. And it just became natural again, completely natural. Like, it just felt like I hadn't stopped driving at all. And just driving without thinking about it. Just what can you say? Like it's become a part of you. When you're doing something, you don't even have to think about it. And it sort of reminded I I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you've not studied. Like you should have been studying, something happened. Maybe something happened in your life and you couldn't study for like a month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever. I've had that experience before. And when I come back to it, I think before I come back to it, I'm always worried, like, oh no, what's going to happen now? I know that my Japanese ability is going to be so much worse than it was before. I don't think I'm going to be very good at it. And it's going to take me a long time to get back to where I was. But I think what I found in the past, or what's happened in the past, is that I've started studying again. And yes, I'm not as good as I was before, but I'm not so bad, to be honest. And after like, I don't know, a day or two of studying, I just feel like I'm back to where I was. I don't know if everyone's had the same experience, but I think I'm really surprised by how much, by how well your brain works, by how much it can remember, and just a little bit of prompting, a little bit of practice, and you can be sort of like, you can carry on from where you left off from. You know, you can pick up where you left off. Which is good news, because I haven't been studying for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I've been getting ready, I've been getting prepared for my girlfriend to come over, and then I've just been on holiday for the past 2 weeks, and I've not done any studying. No. I've decided no studying for me. I don't want to waste my time studying. Well, it's not a waste of time, but I mean, I wanted to spend all my time with my girlfriend, and I didn't want to shut myself in a room and study Japanese or anything like that. Having said that, we were talking in a mixture of English and Japanese, so there's some practice there. But I did try to speak more English than Japanese for her, because she's in England, because she has to speak English, and like when she speaks to my family, it's good if she speaks English. Well, she needs to speak English. She can't speak Japanese to my family. So I did try to speak more English than Japanese, but I did get a bit of practice as well. So I haven't completely stopped studying for 2 months, but the routine has gone. And routine is a hard thing to get back into. And that's what I need to do now. Now that she's gone, I need to get back into that routine. So far, I've sort of done it. I've sort of like eased myself into it, gently got back into it. So like I'm starting to listening to podcasts again, but I need to start looking at Anki again to do my vocabulary study. And I definitely need to start reading again, because I know that if I don't do all 3 at the same time, I don't really learn that well. I don't really progress that well. It's fun just listening to podcasts, but I definitely need to read and study vocabulary at the same time. I'm sure that's the same for everyone, to be honest, because, you know, listening only is just listening only, isn't it? If you're just listening, you're just practicing listening. You need to practice reading as well, and also learning vocabulary. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if you've had a break, if you've got out of routine, if something stopped you from studying, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. It's not such a big problem. And when you can, just, you know, when you've got a bit of time, just get back into it. Just start. Starting is the hardest thing, I think. Starting studying again. But just do a little bit, and maybe the next day a little bit more, and you'll get back into the routine, and you'll probably find that you're better than you thought you were going to be. Like that the break hasn't been such a big problem for you, like it was with my driving. 2.5 years, no driving, and then I'm just in a car on the road, and it's pretty much fine. And I think languages can be like that too. So today's episode, not so much about my holiday yet. And the reason is that my girlfriend is catching up listening to these podcasts, and she said, I've been doing a lot about like English studying lately, and she enjoyed listening to it. So I thought I'd do one more episode about that, and then jump onto some details about my holiday, like some stories about what I got up to, that kind of thing. Anyway, until next time, bye-bye.